everyone, I am Natalie Griffey. I'm the art teacher at Holston Middle School, and today we're going to be making some art together. We're going to do a quick review of block letters and the tips and tricks of how to do those. That way we can make our alphabet and make all of our block letters nice and neat. So a couple of things to get started. First of all, any paper you have is perfect, okay? So if it's construction paper, newspaper, newsprint, white paper, computer paper, colored paper, long paper, tall paper, short paper, small paper, round paper, all papers are fine. I'm going to be using a blank sketchbook because that's what I have available. For your pen or your pencil, any writing utensil is totally fine. So, for example, in my pencil pouch, I have a colored pencil. That would totally be okay, whatever color you have, doesn't matter. I have a marker. Doesn't matter what color. If you are using a marker, just be careful because it might bleed through your paper. You could use a ballpoint pen, again, any color. A Sharpie, again, same thing, might bleed through your paper, but maybe you're looking for a very thick, bold line. That could be an option. You could use a mechanical pencil if you want like a really nice, sharp point. You can use a wooden pencil if you prefer like a more traditional. If you are using a regular pencil, I recommend that you either have an eraser, a cap eraser, or then you can grab an extra eraser because you might make mistakes and need to erase. You could use a clicky pen that's more of a rolly pen. This pen is more of a like fine point line. So anything will totally work for this. Here's an example of those cap erasers that I was talking about. So any writing utensil will be perfect. Whatever you have works for this lesson, okay? So let's get into it. I'm going to be using a pencil to start. And today what we're going to start with is the actual method of how we're going to do this. So for me, as an art teacher, it's really simple for my mind to just think, okay, let's take this regular handwriting letter and turn it into a block letter, and I can visualize that in my mind. But sometimes I need a little refresher. And how we do that is what I call the skeleton method. So the skeleton method is a very simple way of building your block letters. So the skeleton method requires two things. One, you draw a skeleton, and two, you draw a body around it. So one is my skeleton. And let's just start with the letter A because we're starting at the beginning of the alphabet. So if I am building a skeleton, the thing that I need to remember here is that this needs to be drawn very lightly. Draw lightly, okay? Because as you can imagine with a skeleton, is the skeleton in your actual body is not seen. We know it's there, the structure's there, but we don't actually see it. So just like that, in our block letters, we ultimately won't see our skeleton when it's all said and done. So skeleton, draw lightly. So I'm going to draw my letter A. And you can see on my paper how much lighter that is compared to the text that I just wrote out. So now that I have my skeleton, step number 2 is draw my body. Okay, so draw body. I'm going to show each step by step. So step 1 is skeleton, step 2 is the body. So imagine this is my letter A that I have here. And now I'm going to pull my computer down a little bit so you can see this. And now I'm going to draw my body around it. So with my pencil, I'm just going to use that skeleton as a guideline to come around here. Okay, and so far I've built a body around it. I still need to do the inside, so I'm going to actually just draw a small triangle in there to finish out my letter A. Okay, so now I have a block letter drawn and a skeleton. So step 3, if you can imagine, is to erase the line. That's all we got to do, so let's do it. So if this is what I have, like that, then I just need to erase that line. So I'm going to go in with my eraser and erase that line for you guys. And there's my final step. So 3 easy steps on how to make block letters. Draw a skeleton, draw a body, erase that skeleton line that you had inside. So we're going to do that for every single letter until we get the hang of how to do it without that. So our next steps are going to be starting to draw the alphabet. Let's do that together in the next clip. So now we're actually going to go through the alphabet and we're going to do all of the uppercase and lowercase from A to Z as well as numbers 0 through 9. So let's take a look at my book as we go through it. I will give you all some tips and tricks to be thinking about as we do certain letters and give you all some of those tips and tricks of like how to visualize certain shapes inside the letters as well as like tricky letters like your letter S's that are so difficult. So let's take a look at my book and let's get going. All right, guys, I'm using a series of books to prop up my phone so that I can record this for you guys from the top view. So for our block letter alphabet, we're going to start with the letter A. So I'm going to start with a very basic outer casing of the letter A, and then just draw my triangle inside. If you still need to use the skeleton method because maybe some of those letters are a little tricky for you, just remember, draw it lightly, build the body around, add your details, and erase that inner skeleton. This is where using a pencil comes in handy. So as we continue, here's my uppercase letter B. All I'm doing is writing the letter B, just like I normally would, okay? Then I'm going to add 2 letter D's inside there. And now I have a block letter B. That's all you gotta do. So then for my lowercase b, I'm going to come down and around, add my circle, and a circle inside. My letter C, if you can write the letter C, you can do a block letter C. Write it twice, connect the lines. Okay, moving on to our next row. Write the letter D, write the letter D smaller, and you have the letter D in block letters. Write the letter C, make a rectangle, and stop when the lines connect. Start to write the letter E, but then come down like you're going to make 2 rectangles and connect them together. Start with the letter C, then add a horizontal line right in the middle, round that up, round that on the inside, connect it down, and you've got the letter E. A block letter F is pretty simple as well. Lots of straight lines and rectangles. For a lowercase f that is rounder, I do like to write it out first because that round curve can actually throw you for a little bit of a loop. Then I'm going to build my skeleton around it. Go back in with my eraser. So it's very important that you draw that skeleton lightly. If you accidentally erase some of your body, just redraw it. No big deal. Okay, letter G's are kind of tricky, so I do like to write that one out. If you can make a block letter C, you can definitely make a block letter G. So I'm going to follow that same skeleton, but then we're just going to add that hook in there. Go back through, erase what I don't need. Lowercase g's are kind of tricky too. But before I do that, I'm not happy with how I erased that. So let's go back through, have good craftsmanship like we know we're supposed to, and fix it. Lowercase g's are a little tricky, so I like to slow it down a little bit. And I add these little serifs at the top. That's how I like to do it. You could do it without the serifs, kind of like how this E and F don't have one. H. I. J. There's several ways that you can do certain letters too. For example, the J, I could have done my uppercase J like that. Either one of those would be acceptable. K. Only difference between the uppercase and the lowercase is, remember, the stem, just like when you're writing your letters out, the stem is a little bit taller on the K. H-I-J-K-L. M. So you can do your lowercase m similar with that same very harsh straight block line, or you can come down, do the round humps there, come back around like as if you were drawing rainbows, and then give it a little stem. N. And then O's. O's trip up a lot of people because they're like, how do I make it look round? Well, write the letter O and then just draw another one inside there. Okay, so now we're going to flip to the next page. We have the letter P, lowercase p, And then you can either do, that's a little variation there. You can either do a circle inside there or you can do the letter D. Either one is acceptable. Your letter Q, this one is tricky, so I always have to write this one out because that little slant line in there throws me for a loop. So I'm going to build my skeleton around, and as I come around either side to my tail here, that's when I'm going to build that rectangle. I'm going to come back inside, build around, and then build that rectangle up. Lots of happy little accidents right there. So I'm going to erase my skeleton. And then I didn't really love the way that turned out, so I just erased that section too, and then finish it out. My lowercase q, R, S. Oh, the lovely S's. S's throw people for a loop. So this is how I traditionally do my S block letters. So I'm going to go through that one more time and slow it down a little bit. I like to start at the top like I'm writing a regular S. And as I come down, when I loop around, I actually tug it in real tight and close right there. See how it almost kind of looks like a very unbalanced S? Then that gives me enough room to come across to start my block letter. And that way I stop that horizontal line when it lines up with that part of my S. Come back around, and as I come up, I'm going to tug it in really tight too and finish my S. You could do a comic book style S, which is where you do like the letter C and the letter D and connect them together. You could do like a really tall S if you wanted. But those definitely take some practice. So Q, R, S, T, U, write the letter U, write the letter U, and connect them. V, W, X's are a little tricky, so box it out. There's it without having to box it out. When you write the letter first, it prevents it from getting a little too spread out over there. So I do recommend with the X's that you do the skeleton method. Y, and Z. Now, moving on to numbers. 0 is very similar to the 1, or to the O, I mean, excuse me. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 with that S, I hugged it in really tight like I would with my S's. So that kind of has that same similar round part. 6, circle inside. 7, 8, 9. And then you can do an exclamation point, a question mark, and there's your numbers. And for review, here is our alphabet. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. And this is called a variation. So it means that our letters are similar, but they vary a little bit. So this one has that serif at the top. This one does not. K, L, M, N, O. P, Q, R, S, again, some variations. T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, exclamation point, question mark. So now that we've finished our entire alphabet, it's time for your challenge. You're going to use what you just learned to design your own block letter font, okay? You are going to do uppercase and lowercase as well as numbers, and you can either decide to create an entire new font or each letter can be its own different font itself. So here is what I've been working on. You can see I have my A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and that ran out of room on this paper, but each letter is a different style, and I want to choose different styles that reflect my personality. It's kind of maybe it's different styles that reflect different imagery. So my F, I tried to make it look kind of like a flag. So it's totally up to you guys, but you should be designing your own alphabet from A to Z, including your numbers. Have fun with your art, and we'd love to see what you guys make. Bye.